Happy Tuesday! So a lot of you guys are starting OTA programs or applying into OTA programs, and you had questions about what school is like. So today is going to be 10 things I did not know about OTA School. Here's a little outline of what we'll be talking about. So number one, as you see here, is it is hard. So I thought this is an associate's degree. I already had my bachelor's degree, and I thought I wanted to be an OT. This program is rigorous. You need to learn everything you need to learn in 3 semesters because the last semester is primarily clinicals. So you need to know from pediatrics to geriatrics, outpatient, inpatient. You need to know the hospital setting. There's a lot of information. It is difficult. There were classes that I didn't know if I would pass. I only got a few B's in my program, but I worked very, very, very hard for those, slowly realizing grades aren't as important here as they are in a lot of other, in general in other schools. What you need to know is the clinical knowledge. You'll gain that later. We'll talk about it later. Number 2, my classmates in this program were exceptional. Over half of them already had their bachelor's degree. One of them had their master's degree, and most of them were on their second or third career, from personal trainers to working in the oil field, assistant directors. These people came back and realized that they wanted to be in a profession where you're helping people. All of my classmates really knew what occupational therapy assistants did. They did their research. They knew what they were doing. So hot tip if you're applying into a program, really observe other people. Go watch an occupational therapy assistant and see if that's what you want to do. My classmates rocked. I thought I would be the smartest person in the class, and I was far from that. Number 3, you will be touching people. Your classmates and you are going to practice transferring each other. That means moving from point A to point B, from wheelchairs to beds. You're going to be touching their hands, moving them in different directions, doing different assessments. This is a touchy-feely profession. You're going to be touching people. So if you have a fear of being close to people, this may not be for you. Number 4, you cannot cram and dump for these classes. Most of the knowledge that you gain in these classes you're going to be using in your work realm, and not only that, you're going to be studying for this big test that certifies you at the end of your program in order to be a licensed professional, a licensed and certified professional. So you need to know this information. Can't cram and dump. That brings me to number 5. You probably are going to fail at something. Again, I thought this program was going to be much easier. It is an associate's degree. Originally, I wanted to go in for my master's right away, and I went this route first. It is not easy. You're probably going to find some things are more difficult than others, but that's okay. You'll work and you'll move through it. All right, number 6. Where you're going to learn the most is your clinicals. So there are some classes like PhysDis, physical dysfunction, that no matter how many times we read the text, no matter how many hours we studied, it didn't seem like the amount of studying correlated with the grades because the questions were about clinical. What would an OTA do in this particular scenario? There are usually 2 good options. You're going to learn the right and wrong thing to do in those clinical. So ask questions in your clinical, make the most, take notes, review those notes. Your clinical is probably the most important thing you're going to do in the program, so you need to take those seriously. Next stop, work is not recommended during this program. Most of my classmates did not work. A few of us did, so I started off working, realized it was too hard to do. That happened with a student as well. So I worked occasionally doing contract work. I definitely have friends that worked. There are some that worked nights. It does make things a little tricky. It made them a little more stressed out. Their grades struggled for a little while. Another classmate worked more. She did really well with it. You need to find out what's good for you, but I wouldn't recommend more than 10 hours a week if you can afford it, so save up for that. Next thing, professionalism matters. So in my program, we had to dress in either scrubs or we had to dress professionally, where we just had to, no sweatpants, no yoga pants, attendance, we couldn't miss more than 2 classes without being kicked out of the program. All of this matters in how you carry yourself because first, your professors are connected with the OT community. You want to impress the people in this OT community. And 2, more important for your school setting, these people are the ones that put you in your clinical settings. They're not going to send the people that don't act like professionals, that they hear talking and gossiping in the hallways, to their very best clinical settings. They're going to send the best. So you need to hold yourself as a professional throughout this program. Next, OTA School. What? People have a hard enough time understanding what occupational therapy is. Occupational therapy assistant, their eyes will start to glaze over, and once they realize it's an associate's degree, they're going to have no idea how difficult this program is. That's okay. You're just going to show them what a great professional you are, you'll explain it, and eventually maybe they'll understand it, maybe they won't. Last but not least, the labs are probably the second most important thing in the program. So clinicals, number one, but before you go to clinicals, you have your labs. Do not miss your labs. Take advantage. Don't just sit there and talk to your friends. Practice transferring on each other. Practice taking blood pressure. Practice, practice, practice. Your labs are going to be one of the key components to your program, most likely, especially if you're doing an online program. I think that they have their own labs in there as well. So there's 10 different things I didn't know about OT School. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you have more questions, and I'll be talking to you soon. Good luck.